Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. Welcome to episode 3 of Blindspot Corner, where I'm trying to make some sense of the world, and it's not letting me any hands these days. The world's gone kind of crazy. I'm trying to set up some things here and get my mic set up a little bit. You should see my setup down here. It's pretty funny, actually. I've got some pictures I took, and I'll post them later so you can see what I'm actually working with. This is how desperate I am to do what I'm doing right now. What do I mean by desperate? Okay, so today I'd like to go over a couple things. I'm a member of Hugs Over Masks, have been for months, because I saw what Vladislav was doing, and I certainly appreciated him and his efforts, and I wanted to try to loan some of my own efforts to this particular fight. I just wanted to point out that we have seen a purge on YouTube. I'm currently using a YouTube channel. This morning, I think my mic might be a little hot, but I'll watch it. I'm currently streaming this on YouTube, and I've had a couple things taken for copyright strikes in the last couple of days, which were kind of funny. I put up a promo where I had a clip. I'm sure it was taken down or got the copyright strike because of something that I had posted with Madonna in it from a live streamed show Eurovision or something, some Euro Awards thing where she did this hilariously symbolic dance and talked about how the future's coming and divided up all of her dancers into black and white and basically killed them. I mean, that's just what it was. It's what it was. But it was funny that it got taken down so fast for copyright. Even while I was uploading it, it was showing a copyright strike while I was in the process of uploading it. So what to do about that? I had somebody say on my page this morning, go to BitChute. I do have a BitChute channel, so if you're subscribed to me on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it if you go over to BitChute and subscribe to me there. I'll put the link in the show notes for this. But, BitChute doesn't offer, at least not free, it doesn't offer a streaming service, nor does Brand New Tube or NewTube or Library, which is LBRY. I have accounts in all of those places. None of them offer live streaming, which is kind of what I want to do, so it doesn't really help. So I suppose I'm supposed to measure my words and thoughts and be careful about it on YouTube. Well, then you can't say anything of relevance, and you can't talk about anything of relevance. I posted another clip from Eva Cummins, who is a well-renowned expert in the field of basic statistical analysis. And I believe, again, I should really get my facts and information straight if I'm going to be going on live and talking to people about it. But, oh, that reminds me. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second here. Let me just go to my YouTube channel here and share the link, because how am I supposed to expect people to be watching my show when they don't know it's on? Okay, I am live, and I'm going to post that on my Facebook. Okay, so one of the things that I'm not the best typer. Typist? Why didn't it show? Great, it's not working. Give me just a second. I see all these people that go on YouTube and stream stuff, and they goof around with things, and I suppose I'm more inclined to be patient because I kind of understand what's going on, or just because I'm that type of person, who knows, but I don't expect everybody to be so patient. So if you're not one of the patient ones, and you don't really care what I have to say, I don't know what to tell you. You're probably helping all the social controllers achieve what they want to achieve. So how am I helping to balance that power in any way, shape, or form with what I'm doing. I'm not, I suppose, but I'm trying my best, and I suppose that's also worth something. Okay. So, a couple things I just wanted to go over for this installment, episode 3, Blindspot Corner, and I've been reading some things that that kind of exemplify what's happening right here. This was posted in Hugs Over Masks by a fellow. This was posted on August 10th by a fellow named Robert Sharp. I did go look up Robert Sharp. He's a guy that was a plumber, and then he was started a small business, and then he had some minor health ailments that basically forced him into starting an online business where he is a business consultant teaching you how to get things set up and started for your own online business or whatever. But the point is that he posted this back in August 10th. I scrolled through his page because that's quite a while ago, and he posts a lot of pictures and things from Newfoundland and all over Canada. And he did post this back in August, and getting to there was pretty hard. So I did kind of scroll through his page for a minute. Mostly it was pictures, mostly it was advertisements for his business. But he did have another copy and paste thing on his page about, stay home, protect others, save lives, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm going to read this to you. And I'm going to do some little commentary on it, because I think that this is really what's going on, and I mean, everybody sees what's going on. We're totally divided. We have been divided into camps, and we're competing against each other instead of trying to find answers to what's going on. People are just, we are just being hit with a barrage of information and competing interests, and everybody's dividing into left versus right, because I suppose that's the easiest way to divide people. And this is a good example of that. We as humans do not learn from history and are therefore doomed to repeat it. The Spanish flu lasted for 2 years. The second wave killed far more people than the first, and in total there were 4 waves. Right off the hop, Robert Sharp believes the narrative brought to you by the mainstream media and by the people who are clinging to that particular point of view. They are not correct in the way they see things that happened back with the Spanish flu for, so many reasons. It's hard to even know where to start. Number one, people were not healthy back then. They were coming out of a war. People's immune systems were totally run down. The flu is different than coronavirus. The death rate is nowhere even in the ballpark. It's like 400 times more if you believe the 2% that they said it was. They kill people. There's evidence that Anthony Fauci himself knew that what really killed people was bacterial pneumonia, and it seemed to be a consequence of people wearing masks. There was not the same irrigation, and there was, less running water and medicine. There's just so many reasons why comparing this to the Spanish flu shows that you have no idea what you're talking about. But I'm not going to say that Robert Sharp's a bad guy for saying this. He's saying something that he believes. Okay? And why does he believe it? Because it's the same stuff that's been repeated by our own public health authorities and by people like Anthony Fauci talking about the Spanish flu. And they were telegraphing this stuff, second wave, all along. And then when it happened, it's predictive programming. They're telling people what's going to happen, and then they make it happen, so people just kind of buy into it because, and then it also buttresses their belief that these authorities know what they're talking about, even though they have created this mess themselves, and there's no shortage of people out there explaining how that's going on. What happens to people that explain what's going on with that kind of stuff? They get immediately banned. I think YouTube has banned something like 80,000 channels. I might be blowing that up by a factor of 10. I saw something this morning. It was either 8,000 or 80,000. I don't know. Channels of people that they say are spreading disinformation. According to the status quo, according to the people that are doing what they're doing, according to the people that want to institute Agenda 2030, according to the people that want to make money on vaccinations. And I know that's counterintuitive. If you take people out of prosperity so they can't afford to buy the products that supposedly they're making money off of, how does that work? Well, the government itself will pony up the money for individuals. It's, again, more push for universal healthcare. It's more push for Agenda 2030 and all the things they want to enact through the Sustainable Development Goals, which is basically just about creating a giant power structure that will not be able to be fought back against. And it really, I hate to say stuff like this, but it really feels like they're winning. And I'm sorry if that's not a more positive way to look at things. But it really appears they're winning. And they're winning because we are split into camps and because we can't have a rational conversation about things. So how does that happen? It happens from people like Mr. Sharp. It killed somewhere between 20 million and 50 million people. Citizens were ordered to wear masks and everywhere shut down and boarded up schools, movie theaters, and businesses. Mail distribution stopped, as did garbage collection. Many people had to dig graves for their own family members. Have you had to dig any graves for your own family members? This is so not that, and it's amazing that he's going to equate what happened then with what's happening now, because it just shows how completely brainwashed he has been by the narrative. And just I know knew people that died during the first wave of COVID-19, whatever it was, and you can't take away somebody's feelings about someone they think that they lost because of COVID. But this second wave, I don't know anybody that knows somebody that's died during this second wave, other than people that were already in long-term care, and these are people that have been locked away from family members and human contact for months, and vitamin D, and again, all the things that actually boost your immune system naturally, or at least, through things that you can control, things that you can do in your own lives that are cheap and in a lot of cases free: exercise, fresh air, community. And there's a lot of people that are talking about this kind of stuff, like I said again. So what happens to these people? These people get banned from YouTube for talking about this kind of stuff. And then they go to these other platforms, whether it be Brand YouTube, BitChute, Library. What does that really do at the end of the day? Well, it is changing the narrative for one side. It seems to be the vast majority of people that are getting kicked off advocate for one position, and that one position is to empower people to be able to realize, number one, don't be afraid. Number two, there's more to this than what we're being told by the authorities and your local news. And it's serving to divide us, number three. So it's serving the power structure that is clamping down on freedoms to do all this stuff. The question is, why are they doing it? So this morning, my wife got a call from a cousin who said, we were going to get together before Christmas, for Christmas, and have a little celebration and see each other and exchange gifts and all the fun stuff that you normally do, and have meals and share some drinks and some laughs. And that's what the holidays are for getting together and forgetting about your troubles for just a minute and connecting. And that's all being told to us. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. We're all being told right now that is a danger to other people and to our lives. And we're all being told to stay home. We're being told that you're going to get a $10,000 fine, at least here in Ontario, if you are to have a get-together with family and friends. And it's so sick. It's so sick what they're doing. It's so sick. They're going to have bylaw people driving around looking for cars. I heard that in Guelph they're saying they're driving around with bylaw, checking license plates to see if you're actually from the area. So this is so tyrannical. I mean, it's unbelievable, but it doesn't even need to be that tyrannical. So it's all about a show. It's all about convincing you. If they can't convince you with their blown up numbers and statistics using tests that are not reliable, and people are not buying it this time, and they're not buying it this time, I think. I mean, other than the people that are, the 50% that are, I don't know how many people are actually buying this shit. It blows my mind. I really think even the people that are buying it don't really buy it, but they have other things that they think that that makes their side the right one to be on, whether it be getting rid of Trump, whether it be getting rid of anti-vaxxers, whether it be getting rid of all the things that they see as problems in society and letting someone take care of it for them. If you give the government enough power, it's going to fix everything for you. That's, first of all, that's an insane way to think. Unless, of course, you work for the government, which there is a lot of those actors as well. And there's people basically, I mean, there's people out there that are being paid to promote this narrative. And I would say that people like myself that are taking it upon themselves to come on to the internet and explain things from our perspective, from our point of view, a lot of us are not getting paid. And a lot of us have taken hits, actually, myself included, for doing what we're doing right now. But at least we can see the future. At least we can see what's coming. At least we're listening to what they're telling us, and we're just saying, hey, there's a different way to look at this. Can we talk about reality? Can we talk about the facts? Can we talk about the fear-mongering? Can we talk about the actual data and statistics? And it's not being allowed. If we have a government, and there's governments all over the world that are doing this exact same thing, if we have governments that are misappropriating data and doing things, they're using their power to scare people and police them, and they're going to put up fines. And even if you look at articles that come out of mainstream news, you can see that they're basically analyzing data. Ever since the beginning of March, when they enacted these emergency measures, part of that was being allowed to go to the phone companies and ask for data. Oh no, it's just harmless data. We're just doing some analytics. We just want to see how much people are complying. Well, why do they need to see how much people are complying, and why do they need to do that unless, of course, it was all part of the plan, it was all part of what they wanted to do, and they knew they were going to do it, and they went right there, and they're basically, again, this stuff has been slipping out in regular articles where it talks about the fact that, oh, we're looking at data analytics, and it says that this many people are listening this time, and it's this percentage less than last time, and we should all be really scared again. It's also scary. Well, why are they trying to scare people? Fear in and of itself lowers your immune system. So why would they try to be scaring people? They're trying to bully us into compliance. And so the $10,000, but why? Why the bullying? Why the data analytics? Why checking to see if it's working? Because they have an agenda, Agenda 2030, and they've all agreed to it. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau came in and said that this is all about Agenda 2030. He said it was about the SDGs and the Agenda 2030 SDGs. So we know what they're doing. We know that public health is 100% on board with this. We know that public health people have been trained to manage people in exactly this kind of scenario. I mean, they're just doing what they've been trained to do. So I don't hold them to be awful or evil. They just really believe what they're saying and what they're doing, and they believe that anti-vaxxers are a problem, and one of the biggest things they needed to do was to get mandatory vaccinations in place because they believe it. If you belong to that particular part of the power structure, you will see that there are benefits for going along with the narrative. It is job advancement, it is more money, it's more prestige to agree with this stuff, and people that go against it get beaten down in the same way that people that go on YouTube and try to point out why this is all just nonsensical, they're getting taken out as well. And so they're being forced to scatter to these other platforms. And, even myself, when I'm trying to find people that I used to listen to that have been banned, they could be anywhere. And so it's just like people, this is a numbers thing. And they know that with a certain amount of nudging and a certain amount of basically just making things more difficult for people to do, that they can achieve the kind of ends that they want. This has all been calculated. And when I say they, it doesn't need to be a giant conspiracy. It doesn't need to be nefarious. It can just be what they wanted to do, and they found ways that they can achieve these kind of goals, and so they're doing it. They're enacting it. And it's about climate change, right? It's about climate change. It's about climate change. It's not about a deadly pandemic. It's about achieving other goals that they wanted to do because they believed climate change was an existential threat. Tell me you haven't heard that before. Of course you have. But let's go back to our friend. You know, it's also all about an illusion, maintaining an illusion. So we know that the pandemic numbers are almost totally inflated. We know that people aren't really dying from the so-called pandemic. They just die like they normally are. We know that you can look at overall mortality numbers and they're down so far this year than they were last year. So does that make any sense? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and grab all the links. There's tons of people putting this stuff up. They're putting the back up. They're doing the legwork, and God bless them for what they're doing, because they're getting persecuted just like anyone who speaks up against what's going on right now, and they're taking hits. And so it's tough to support all these people when the odds are against them and us, and this is all very crushing. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's bad. It's very bad, folks. But it's only bad, and they're only winning because it's a numbers game, and they want to convince the largest number of people, because the people that speak out are easier to control when there's only a handful of them. So let me just give you an example of that. If everybody were to say, screw you, daddy government and mommy government, we are not going to comply. It's Christmas. I'm going to see my family. I'm going to visit. What are they going to do? If everybody just went somewhere to visit with their families, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Now, could I be called inciting violence or like, I could be attacked just for saying something like that, but it's true. That's why it's dangerous. It's dangerous to say something that's true. If we all just said, none of this adds up, I'm not complying, I'm going to open my business, I'm going to do what I want to do, I'm not going to wear a mask, I'm not going to get the vaccination, I'm not going to agree with what you're trying to do, you don't control us, you don't own us. Total non-compliance. That's the only way this is going to stop. That's the only way this is going to stop. And so what happens, they're going to give some people that it's only going to be a handful of people that are not complying. And so it's going to be easier for them to drive around and give people $10,000 tickets for having people over at their houses, and they're going to ruin their good time, and they're going to generally embarrass them. This is bullying. I mean, it's unbelievable. This is psychological torture by our government. So why would they do it? I'm not talking about people like Doug Ford, who just appears to be the biggest moron on the planet. I mean, this guy I voted for the guy. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was such an idiot. But what was the alternative? What was the alternative? Would the people that would have won, let's say the Liberals would have won, would they have been doing anything any differently? No, it would be exactly the same thing. Because this isn't coming from the left or the right. This is coming from the top to the bottom. We're all being oppressed now. We're all being oppressed now. And the people that are defending this stuff, they're so, I don't understand it. God bless people. But man, I don't understand how you can defend this stuff. But let's just go back to it. If they hand out $10,000 tickets to a handful of people, it's not a problem. If they hand them out to lots of people, if everybody doesn't comply, the officers are not going to want to go out. They're not going to want to do it. The officers might actually stand with the people and not comply too. Do you know that? Because they're people too. They want to see their families too. I don't think that the police out there enjoy any of this, except for the sadistic ones. And the people in government that are pushing this through, they're ideologues. They believe in something other than what they're telling you, which should tell you everything. They don't believe it. They don't believe any of this stuff. And that's why so many doctors and people in government are questioning it, and they're saying, this doesn't make any sense. God bless Randy Hillier. God bless Rocco Galati. God bless all the people that are leading these groups to stand up against this government, because in all the governments around the world, because this is all about trying to control you and make you compliant to what they want to do. And what they want to do has nothing in common with what regular people want. It doesn't. They are trying to constrict life. They are trying to constrict and control life, and there's other aspects of it that, I mean, it I I don't want to call it nefarious, but it sure is ugly. It sure is ugly, and it's kind of like a cycle that human beings go through. So explain that. If we all if we all just started not complying, it would be over tomorrow. If people just started thinking for themselves, it would be over tomorrow. If people started having conversations, which is what they don't want, which is another reason they don't want people getting together. They don't want the conversations to be had because they know they have a totally weak narrative, and they know that the only thing keeping this going is the people that they have on their side. And they're keeping the people that they have on their side compliant with fear. With fear. And that's sick. Okay, so I just wanted to go over a couple little things. You know, these cases, if you were to get together with your friends and family and you get this fine, there are people like the line and hugs over masks. You go through them, you talk to these people, they're totally accessible, and they will point you to the groups that are fighting these lawsuits on your behalf. It will cost you nothing. It's all an illusion. The $10,000 fine is a total illusion. That's the point. They don't want people talking about it. They don't want people thinking about it. And they cannot enforce it if people don't just bend over and take it. Don't bend over and take it. I'm not talking violence. I'm not talking anything beyond simple non-compliance. Open your businesses. Don't wear a mask. Refuse the vaccine. Have people over. Be a freaking human being. Humans have, over the course of our entire evolution, there's always been people that want to control us. And they want it because it makes them feel comfortable, not because it's for you. It's never because it's for you. Okay, hashtag not never. There's always exceptions to the rule. But this doesn't appear to be one of them. This is ugly. So, yeah, there are people that will help you fight those fines, and once those fines got to the court, if there was enough of them, the court would be overwhelmed, and there would have to be change. And they would not get away with this. And they're only going to get away with this if people comply. I cannot say this enough, they're only going to get away with this if people comply. Think about your children. Think about your parents that you haven't seen for months. Think about your friends and family that you don't want to see destroyed. And so many lives are being destroyed. There was a story this morning talking about that, I think in Ohio, teenagers or kids around that age, suicides are way up. Think about them. Stop being afraid. Be brave for them. Many people had to dig graves for their own family members. Here we are 100 years later, and what have we learned? Half the people do not want to wear masks because they think it is a hoax it is not that bad. It's not that bad. It is mostly a hoax. Government is lying. They are. Insert insane right-wing conspiracy theory rhetoric here. This is not rhetoric. It's totally provable. And the only way you cannot know that this is totally a farce is by not looking at the actual numbers and just doing this and listening to the people who you've been listening to all along, who have been lying to you. And it's not because they're so smart they know they're lying. It's because they are being fed a narrative and they are doing their job. And the smart ones are saying, hey, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. We're hurting too many people. What is this all about? That's not a right-wing conspiracy. You moron. This guy, God bless him, but man is he stupid. People want to He's stupid about this. I'm sure he's a very nice and intelligent guy. And I'm really trying not to bring people farther apart here, because we need to get together. We need to stand up against this. This is all wrong. People want to prioritize their own narcissistic desires and privileges over other human beings' lives. That's actually not true at all. That's not true at all. And if this guy spent 5 minutes talking to one of those people down at those protests, he would know that. But he can't. He's already bought in this much. This is his ego telling him, no, it's true. It's all true. What's the CFR? You ask a person that and they'd shut up. They don't even know the case fatality rate. If you can't have a conversation for more than 2 minutes when somebody asks you a quick question, you're not really believing the bullshit yourself. What do they have in 1918? No TV, no internet, not a lot of food supply. Yeah, and no irrigation, and well, very little, and no fresh water, and they were just coming out of a war, and they had very little nutrition. That's all the... Dude, pay attention to what you're writing yourself. This is not 1918. It's entirely possible that in 1918, the 2% case fatality rate was because of all those things. Maybe that wasn't even such a bad pandemic, but let me tell you, when people are deprived of things that they need in their lives, and they're beat down, and they are heartbroken, they die. Especially when something like this gets into their system. And I'm not saying there's no cold circulating. I'm not saying anything like that. I'll buy that. Sure. There's a cold going around, and it's very dangerous to the elderly. Let's protect the elderly. Let's not destroy everyone else to protect the elderly. There are ways to protect the elderly. There are quick tests. There is just washing your hands. But you can't stop people that are going to die from dying. And it's insane to think that we should destroy everyone's lives because you can't stop people from dying. This is insane. All the numbers confirm that shit, by the way. You go, I posted endlessly about this stuff. I'm actually done posting about it. And again, there's so many people putting out this content that are actually crunching the Ever Cummings. Go to Ever Cummings' webpage, thefatemperor.com. He will explain everything to you, which is why he's so dangerous, and why when I posted a 5-minute clip talking about it was a shit clip. It was not done well. I was trying something, and it was censored for being inappropriate content by YouTube. Why? There was nothing dangerous about what he said. I uploaded that video to my BitChute page, and I've shared it on my page. What do we have? TV, internet, movies that can be watched from home, Uber Eats, you name it. And yet we are a world full of entitled and selfish people. Violator number 1 speaking. And by the way, this guy is the one that's being selfish and entitled. I guarantee he hasn't actually gone and looked at the information. How much more entitled and selfish can you be than that? That do not actually verify that the things that you're being told are true. How selfish and lazy do you have to be to buy this shit? And yet we are in a world full of entitled and selfish people who lack human empathy. Nobody lacks human empathy. We just see it differently. And you're the one lacking empathy right now. You're the one promoting a false narrative. I feel bad for you. I hope that you've learned something. But again, I did just look at this guy's Facebook page. He has learned nothing. He has not tried to learn anything. I wonder how much time he spent actually watching how nucleic acids and proteins are formed. Because I've spent hours at this point just trying to understand some of this stuff, listening to different people, listening to people on left, right, totally meaningless for this. This is about compliance and an agenda. Who lacked me? Act oppressed. Act oppressed. Act oppressed? You dick. You unbelievable asshat. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. When given any minute sense of responsibility. What a jerk. If this guy did write this, he's just a total Man, could you, to be so smug and to say such ridiculous things without actually verifying them, that is just the height of ignorance. Travel is not a necessity. Screw you. Yes, it is. Movie theaters are not a necessity. We like them. I don't think there's any reason to get rid of them. Screw you. Throwing parties is not a necessity. Up yours, dickweed. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Family is a necessity. Happiness is a necessity. We have all worked very hard up until this point in our lives. Most of us. We're good people. We deserve a little reward called getting together with our family and feeling joy. Screw you. Being a decent human being should not be a revolutionary act. It should be common sense. So, yeah, screw this guy. And there you go. This guy's an idiot. Death by a mask. And then, so in this group, there's a million different people making excellent points, pointing out that all the things that I just did, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. He has no idea what he's talking about. And he has just nestled himself into this little tiny way of thinking, and this is his worldview right now. This is the way that he thinks about things. And he thinks everybody else should think like that. What a hero. So I'm sorry if I've been rather mean to this guy, Mr. Sharp. But that's the enemy, folks. He's only the enemy as long as he's stuck in the Matrix, and we're all stuck in the Matrix right now. This is all an illusion. It's serving people that are not us. Even though you could be one of those people that's able to twist your logic into such a way that you might believe this is for us and for our own good. But it's a very tiny mindset to believe that. Climate change is an existential threat. Let's talk about it. No. Vaccines and vaccine hesitation is an existential threat. Let's talk about it. No. I don't know if you're hearing that noise, but so I just wanted to go over a couple more little things. And stuff like this. This doesn't help, okay? I'm going to play this little clip here, and it's from a guy that's been uploaded to brand new YouTube that has all these. There's a lot of reputable people here, and doctors, and then David Icke. Who, you know what, God bless David Icke too. He's been saying a lot of stuff about the power structure, whether or not they're reptilians. It should be beside the point, because right now all the stuff that David Icke kind of warned about, whether or not there's bases on the moon, is coming true. It really is. And it's all being controlled in our minds. This is all a numbers game. So, this was put on brand new tube. It's got 57,000, almost 57,500 views in explosive topics. We will not delete the video from our platform. Does it even say when this was? This is in May 2020. Okay, let's watch this just for a second.
Okay, I want you to know right up front, YouTube, nothing in this video is my opinion and there is no conjecture.
Well, that's not exactly right, but this guy actually seems like a nice guy. It's funny because I can't find this guy. I don't know. It doesn't say where this came from. It doesn't say the source. I have no idea who this guy is. If somebody knows, could you please let me know? I'd like to see what he's doing now. I'd like to see if he can turn around and revise his position on this thing. But he's 100% wrong here, and this kind of stuff isn't helpful.
Everything that you see in this video is going to come from government and World Health Organization sources. Let me ask you this question before I start. When was the CARES, or Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, written? You would think that it was written after the so-called pandemic. Well, let me show you something real quick. This is from the Associated Press. This video right here is from March 27th, 2020, where it says Trump signs $2.2 trillion stimulus package. And we're going to see that this stimulus package is H.R. 748, the CARES Act, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Watch.
Okay, so he actually does some pretty good production here. I'd like to talk to him just so he can train me how to do this stuff better. Since you should see my setup. I took some pictures of my setup. I'm gonna post them on my Facebook page because this is hilarious. You should see what I got going on here. I'm this desperate. So he does some interesting stuff here. He's gonna say that this act was actually brought out in January of 2019, and he links to the act and he says, look, it was January of 2019 and this has been done, this is all planned, and how did they know the coronavirus was going to come? And I can understand why people get carried away and they jump to conclusions with this kind of stuff because they're all looking for that aha moment, because we all know the government's screwing us. So people are desperate. So what's the danger to what the government is doing? It's conspiracy theorists. And it's really easy to come up with this kind of stuff and then turn around after the fact that he's done all this production, he's done this video, and then realize you're wrong and double down and say, no, I must be right. But there is a logical explanation for this one. Unfortunately, I looked it up on Reuters. They got it right. And I will show you. The CARES Act, it was introduced in January 2019, but it wasn't called the CARES Act at that time. And it came from this think tank. Congress should pass the middle class. Where's my mouse here? Sorry, it's screwing me up. Okay. Congress should pass the Middle Class Health Benefits Tax Repeal Act of 2019 to strengthen the ACA. This is about the Affordable Care Act. This is articles from July of 2019. Before it was called the CARES Act, it was actually called HR 748, the Middle Class Health Benefits Tax Repeal Act of 2019. So everything this guy says, and he makes a fantastic video, and it's fantastical, and everybody watches it. 57,453 views, and people might even share it, and people talk about this stuff. And this guy seems very nice, and it's a great presentation, but it's wrong. It's wrong. And when we share this kind of stuff, it makes it easy for the establishment to point at us and go, aha, see, these people don't know what they're talking about. They are full of conspiracy theories. And in this case, they're right. But it's not a conspiracy theory that they are tracking our cell phone data, and they are, because of the Emergencies Act, they are tracking that cell phone data, and they're using it to see if the propagandizing on the general public is working. It's not a conspiracy theory to say that they're going to fine people $10,000 for getting together over the holidays over something with a 0.25% case fatality rate if you're under the age of 70. This, in that number, is probably even high. This is all happening. It's not some figment of our imagination. It's all happening. They are destroying our way of life. And for the people that say, well, you can't just shut down your business and stop the spread. No, there's bills that have to be paid. There's mortgages. Okay? There's people that have to pay rent. There are supplies that are going to waste. There are all kinds of lives that are being disrupted, and our government is pumping money into this thing. And it's based on fictitious numbers and modeling, and we're still buying it. And they're doing it because they know that if they just keep propagandizing people and scaring people with these tickets and all these things they want to do and telling you, don't visit your family for Christmas, it's all so dangerous. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. They're lying to us, and they're doing it because they care about this other thing. And if they would just come out and be honest, and Justin Trudeau did come out and be honest, and he says, oh, there's all these other things that we need to address, and climate change is number one of them, and all these other things that we need to address. So it's just so great that this coronavirus came along, because now we can achieve all these other agendas. That's not a government's responsibility. Nobody's asking the government to do that except for think tanks that it's going to benefit and large corporations that it's going to benefit. It is not benefiting you or me or my mother or my sisters who won't even get together with us for Christmas because they're afraid. This is sick. The people that are doing it are sick. And they're not telling the truth. Why? So this guy and brand new tube, who even knows? Brand new tube uh, is got this video up since May, and it's just like it's so easily to show that it's false. It's so easy to show it's false, but it's still up there. So who's and brand new tube is they're posting in it exclusive topics. We will not delete the video from our platform. We are free speech advocates. Well, it serves to fit the narrative as well to say that some people don't know what they're talking about, and so there should be this class of professionals that tells us how to think and what to think. It serves that narrative to have brand new tube doing what they're doing. So you should be questioning brand new tube. Not everything that there are people out there that are spreading disinformation because it serves the agenda. It serves the greater purpose. COVID-19. I saw this guy in a video of brand new tube actually from a lady that seemed very nice. I'll have to find it later. Excuse me. It's from 6 days ago. Austin Moore. I don't know what country he's in. Probably the UK. COVID-19, the psychological battle behind the virus. There is a battle raging right now across the UK due to COVID-19. It began way back in March of 2020, but it's not the battle you'd think it is. This fight is not about defeating COVID-19. It is now spilled out into society, and people have done what they do best in times of war. They divided themselves against each other. There are two main groups. One group is formed based around the belief that everything our government has said is correct. The virus is deadly. Everyone must be locked down for their own safety. Masks worn regardless of any previous evidence or suggestion that they don't. And wearing them is mandatory. Masks work regardless of any previous evidence or suggestion that they don't. Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry, yeah. They don't. They don't. It was all about training you to just do ridiculous shit. Masks don't stop COVID. And there's a million. If you believe that masks stop COVID and you just happen to be listening to my voice for any particular reason, I don't know how you came across me, welcome. But if you believe it, have the courage to check into your convictions. Listen to somebody else other than the mainstream narrative and give them a chance. If you feel so inclined, prove them wrong. But don't just swallow what you're being told by a government that is obviously being disingenuous. You are part of the problem. And it's not because you're a bad person, and it's not because you believe things that are bad. It's because you believe someone who's lying to you. And they're destroying our lives. And they're only focusing on saying specific things, and they are ignoring everything else that make them look bad. Why is that? Wearing masks shows you care about others as opposed to protecting yourself. The only cure is a vaccine which everyone must take without question. Anyone that opposes this belief is as deadly as the virus and should be brought into line or isolated for the good of everyone else. Totalitarian thinking goes along with not educating yourself. You should think about that. Group 2 is made up of people that believe the government has been dishonest, shouldn't be trusted, based on previous experience and current data. Yes! Yes! What's the difference between those two? One's not looking at the data. One is believing what they're being told. They're not looking at it. This group believes we should challenge the official advice from the government and that there are better options for protecting the vulnerable, which would have caused less overall deaths and not destroyed the economy. Yes, they are skeptical of a vaccine developed quickly and don't believe it's necessary based on the facts and figures. Yes, it's not. It's totally not. And it's totally new technology. Let me tell you something about mRNA. It is playing God. It is the ultimate hubris of the medical scientific community. The fact that they do not know how this is going to affect people long term, and they're just rushing it out, and they're going to try to mandate it on people. Oh, it's not mandated. You just can't take part in regular life unless you get it. How sick is that? What a disgusting person to do something like that and say something like that on television and smirk about it while you do it. And that's the person in charge of Ontario Healthcare. Might even, and that's all the people coming out of that particular branch of government that think they know better than everyone else. And they're lying about the data. They're lying that it's deadly. They're lying that anybody that catches it is going to die. That's not the way that it works. They're lying about the fact that asymptomatic people spread. That's not the way that we've shown it working. The science is clear. It's not being spread by asymptomatic people. And so again, I made another video, I think on Friday. You could make the argument that if all that it does is it lessens the symptoms, you're not oozing snot, and you're not sneezing and coughing, you're not spreading the virus. You could make that argument. But it's a shitty one. It's a stupid one that serves the establishment and other goals, and they're lying about it if they say that they don't have other goals. We want honesty, not this. You want people to believe you? Try being honest. Try actually addressing some of their concerns. Try admitting that this is a totally new technology, that we don't know what the long-term effects are going to be, and that it scares the shit out of people when you say you're going to mandate it. Oh, we're not really going to mandate it. Screw you. People should be scared. Okay? I'm going to say it. The whole vaccine narrative is full of shit. It's full of shit. Read some books that go against the narrative and see what you think. I'm not telling you to believe me. I'm saying go out there and read some books. If you really believe it wholeheartedly, go out there and read some books that actually challenge your narrative and see how you feel after it's done, because I don't care if you have cognitive dissonance, but the key to cognitive dissonance is to not explore the other side. That's the most important element for displaying cognitive dissonance, to not challenge your beliefs. I believe in vaccinology in the way that it's supposed to work. I have an issue with the adjuvants. I have an issue with the fact that it doesn't give you long-term immunity the way that actually coming across the disease when you were healthy would do. And I believe that when mothers breastfeed their babies, who are the most vulnerable to measles, and the elderly, who no longer have lifelong immunity, when mothers breastfeed their babies, they've done studies that show that mothers that actually acquired measles and passed it naturally pass more antibodies to their child through their breast milk, and the child is more protected. Now, have you ever heard that before? If you haven't, it's because you've never listened to people that are telling you the other side of the story, and you should ask yourself why not. Why does the establishment say stuff like that? It's true. It doesn't work for their profit. I think it's in Miller's. It's actually best explained in Dissolving Illusions. But that's just one thing. That's just one thing. And they tell you that vaccination is going to save the world and we've eradicated diseases. And meanwhile, diseases are spreading in places where people were already lacking proper nutrients and they're malnourished. And when they get sick, serious consequences happen to them. And it doesn't matter if they've been vaccinated or not. And if it does, it's a tiny, tiny little fraction of something that matters, and secondary issues become a problem. People are becoming chronically sick because of the way that we're thinking about things and the way that we're doing things. And that serves Big Pharma pretty well. But it doesn't make people healthier. It's a lie, folks. It's a misrepresentation of the facts. I've already come up to an hour here. And I think my family's coming home, so it's going to get noisy. And, you know, why are they lying? Why do people never challenge what they believe? I suppose that's just a part of being human. But even earlier when I was talking to my wife and our neighbor about this $10,000 fine, it's just like, hey, if we just stop complying, it ends tomorrow. If people stop believing the things that are being told to them that are easily provably false, or at least they are hyperbolizing the whole narrative to suit other agendas. And they have not been shy about saying that's what they're doing. So, I'm not gonna put any more articles up because, you know, people just, you know, it's difficult to know what this is all about. unless you've been really reading a lot of stuff, and I have. And believe me, every time I read something, I question it. And I suppose that's the difference between me and that guy who posted that ridiculous thing on Facebook that doesn't question any of it, doesn't question the motivations of people, doesn't question there might be something else going on that he's not including in his analysis, whatever that is, which is to call other people shit. That's not how you make friends. That's not how you have a conversation. The minute that you, and I know that I've been calling him names, I think most people mean well. I think most people are just, they're not getting the facts, and they believe people in lab coats, and they believe people with letters after their name who might even think that they're doing something that is for the benefit of mankind, but there's just no evidence. It's not certain enough. Climate science is not certain enough to tell us what's going to happen in 50 years or 10 years or 20 years. It doesn't know. It doesn't know. What does it have to do with the magnetic shield on the Earth? Does the sun matter? It should. Does where our galaxy is in our does where our solar system matter in our galaxy, in our universe? Does it matter where we are? Is there other galactic energy that affects our lives? And there's so many questions that you need to answer before saying that it's this closed loop system inside the Earth's atmosphere that there's more questions than answers. But it doesn't matter, because it's always been about achieving something that they wanted, which was control. And they're getting it now with this, and it's happening hard and fast. And it's just so lucky for us that they had this contingency plan in place, the Great Reset, which apparently is a conspiracy theory, to believe that that's what they're actually trying to do, even though all the partners are major corporations and MasterCard. Everything is part of this major. Just go to the Great Reset website. Go look. They're all doing it. Go to the World Economic Forum YouTube channel. And by the way, that's what I'm going to start doing, I think. I think that there's so many people out there, and there's so many people putting out good information, and what I need to do is to give my channel a personality, and I think that personality is going to be not doing what everyone else is doing. I got to find my niche, and I think my niche is going to be basically taking clips from what these corporations are saying, and I'm going to put them out there for people. So that's what I'm going to start doing. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, whenever I can. And let me tell you something, folks. This is desperate. Our situation is desperate. And I feel what you're all feeling. Both sides, regardless. I feel what you're feeling. But I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not trying to persuade you to do anything other than think for yourself and realize that your life has value. People's lives have value. There is meaning in work, and maybe some of the stuff that we do could be improved. But whenever this impulse to control everything from the top down has come through in the past, millions die. Maybe this time billions. And they're playing God as well on top of that. I mean, I do have to do something about the mRNA, because I've learned too much to not try to synthesize it. That's my word, synthesize. Okay. If you tuned in and you appreciate any of this, please share it if you feel so compelled, even though I'm just a crazy rambling person tonight. Give me a thumbs up. I'm probably going to have to find another channel. I have a feeling that just speaking my mind, of course, unless it serves the narrative to say that people like me are crazy, because I'm speaking my mind, I need to be banned from YouTube. Who knows? We'll see. In any case, I really hope we get through this in a way that doesn't have to change all of our lives so drastically that we will be all dependent on the government from here on out, because that's really what they're shooting for. They want to control everything. They want omnipotent power. And it never ends well. So why should we think it's going to end well this time? It's not. Please Please snap out of it if you're buying this stuff. Please snap out of it. This affects you. This affects all of us. And they're not so smart that they can change everything by just having more bureaucracy. Never works that way. Never works that way. But it does give an awful lot of power to the people at the top. And when they start making decisions and they start telling us how our health is to be determined without even being held accountable, they just passed an act in Canada saying that there's going to be something like the Vaccine Compensation Fund in Canada right before they're going to roll out this new RNA vaccine, mRNA vaccine. We have no long-term studies. This is all brand new technology. And I read a bunch of articles yesterday talking about, if you're bored and you don't believe the things that I'm saying, go to my Facebook page. Go to the articles that I'm posting. Go to my comments. Tell me where I'm wrong. Please. Tell me what I'm wrong about. I welcome it.